Alrighty, welcome everybody to episode 3 of Into the New School Originals podcast. I am your host, Todd Cash. Joining me today is Ricky Sinister. Today's topic, and we're dabbling with the idea of doing two of them. Number one off the bat is going to be the future of LAN esport events. Sinister, do you mind explaining what a LAN is?
A LAN is where you have an in-person tournament where the computers are synced together through the LAN cables and other means now that have been updated and improved. But back when we were growing up, you get your laptops together, you sync your LAN cables up, and you play a nice little God, what's that game called? Now I'm thinking of it, the Kingdom expansion game. Me and my cousins used to play it all the time. But now in the esports world, we see these massive LAN tournaments where they invite anywhere from 8 to 32 teams to come in, play in person, and compete in the tournament until they get a winner, most likely on Sunday, and they'll do the finals. So LAN formats are not consistent among esport titles. I know the Siege Major going on right now runs a different system than the CSGO systems. Apex and Battle Royale games are much different as well. So LANs can be a very, very differing experience based on what country you're in and what game title you're going to view.
I think that was really well put. And to kind of follow up on that, so, just video game tournaments in person. And LAN it's not a new concept at all. Some of the original gaming events that, very much so grandfather mark how competitive events are formatted today are just as old as the game industry itself. So that being said, I think there's a few variables that need to be addressed for the idea of LAN survivorship because, in the United States, we're in, and I'm just going to throw this out there, the endemic of COVID. But strangely enough, in the midst of COVID, gaming had some of the highest, say, surgency possible in terms of like viewership, in terms of getting titles out there, and the most amount of players on, just because people
Mm-hmm.
were at home and people were, say, needing something to do.
Yeah.
But the question is, when we're speaking about cons, sporting events, really anything that's going to be filling a stadium, so to speak, or a convention center, what is the survivability moving forward and what plagues LANs? What do you think moving forward should LANs, I don't know, improve on? Or you went to the Raleigh Major. What are your thoughts in the general vicinity?
Yeah, so I've been to two Siege events now. I went to the original LAN in, oh God, was it? I forget where it was in North Carolina, 2018. And then I went to the Raleigh Major with Flick and Wolf last year. Um, I don't know. It's a hard one because the first one that we went to was when Siege was really, really popular, and I was also much younger, so my expectations were very low. And I think that's something I want to get into a little bit later. Is kind of like the expectations of what a LAN should look like what's a standard for a LAN. But when we went to the Raleigh Major in like 2021, 22, oh man, it was I don't want to be negative, but like it was terrible. And it just it fell short. Like there was nothing to do at the event except for watching the game on a subsequently sized like projector screen or playing the new build of Siege. Like that was our only options. And it just was not enjoyable for me. When I was like, I could do this from home. Like I don't want to sit here in an audience of 300 people where no joke they smell so bad. Like I'm not being funny. Like that stigma behind lands, like man, some people reeked. I'm like I could do this from home with a beer, and like really enjoy myself, and instead of sitting in here in the bottom of an epicenter. Like we rented like one of the smallest venues, and I get that like they were nervous that like COVID was going to really impact the people that came, and it's so true. Like they like it was empty most of the time. But when I went in 2018, man, like they had food trucks outside. They had multiple vendors. Like I remember, like HyperX was there. They had a Logitech booth. They had multiple clothing vendors, and they had multiple food options. So there may have only been a couple thousand people, but it felt like there was always a lot of people, and it felt like you could actually go do things, and there was some things you could fill up your time in the downtime, which made it way better when you're waiting like those 30-minute breaks between games. So it was definitely two grossly different experiences. But I don't know, man. Like my experiences with lands have been very up and down. Like I'm not sure I'll ever go to another siege event. I'm thinking about going to the Dallas, not Dallas, the DC Blast Winter Final or Blast Spring Final for CS:GO with Flick. Um, but honestly, the Siege Land has left a bad taste in my mouth, and I'm not sure I wouldn't just rather watch it from home and save all the money of traveling and getting hotel rooms.
I think, and when you told me all of that about the Rally Major, like I was just like jaw on the floor about how bad it was permitted to say to carry on and how bad everything was set up, the organization of it all, the fact that there were no vendors. And I think gaming has to evolve its LAN environment. It's the same kind of way if you were to go to, and I'll just say any hobbyist sport, any hobbyist event of sorts, is that it's in their niche communities, micro communities. And whether it's like, say, like cornhole or pool tournaments or things like that, usually the ones that are going are, say, ex players. They are
Hmm.
players, but they're not playing this event. And for the profitability and the sheer mass of the gaming environment, we have many barriers to break because the idea of getting someone to watch something online is an uphill battle. Then getting someone to go into person is an uphill battle. But I feel, and I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent, so bear with me. There's
Okay.
no excitability as a viewer. Watching just these guys sit at a fold up table and they have TVs, less than 24 inches from their face. There's no big screen or a poor quality big screen for whatever match is going on. Casting, which could be a whole podcast in its own, unless it's CS:GO, I feel like a lot of, say, casting in many gaming titles is poor quality. And then I'm going to address the
Yeah.
vendors. You know, when you go to one of these events, I'll even use paintball. Let me use paintball real quick. I brought my family to the paintball tournaments up here. I'll just say NXL Chicago,
Okay.
and we have vendor after vendor after vendor. It is exciting. It's one of those things you don't need to be a player. They're letting people spin wheels for free prizes. There's food there. The ticket is free to get in unless you want better seats. It's a very come one come all kind of event, and I feel as if event coordinators in the esports area would not cut it as an event coordinator in a more solidified sport area. And what I mean by that is it's awesome, that at one point, New School Originals, we were looking at sending a team to a few different lands. I
Yeah.
believe it was AGN's lands. And from what I was told, the AGN owner did a good job hosting it. But there were so many other smaller events that I looked at, and it's way too much money up front to send players there. There's no exposure, which is the end all be all for orgs. The viewability of getting new people involved in the scene is microscopic because of the idea that there's no vendors showing off their stuff. There's nothing to play with. It is just game after game, whether it be good casting, bad casting. There is just no quality there for an attendee.
Yeah. When I was going in college and I was going to like a lot of the drag races and stuff, because we had like the Friday Night Lights drag strip teams
Mm.
come through where I grew up. I won't dox myself, but
Hmm.
man, we had so much fun. But like even like these, like it was I think like a $5 parking pass is all I had to pay. Um, and we would go and it'd be me or four of the five of the guys I worked with, and man, it'd be so much fun. Like you didn't have to know anything about drag racing. The vendors there were just selling such cool things. Like you said, the spinning the free raffles. Like I want a free hat just off of like spinning it on the wheel from a vendor. Like I have no idea who Vulcan Door Cars is. Like I don't care. Like but I got their hat. I love the hat because it was free. And I just feel like that was like sorely missing from the event we went to. Like I brought my wife because she was super excited. She's was like, look, like you love esports. I want to support your interests. Like I'll go. Like buy me a ticket and I'll go. Like you really want to do this? You're super excited about it. I want to go see it. And we went, and she was like, "This is God. This is exactly what I thought it was going to be. This is terrible. I'm leaving." And like she'll never go again. Like it just burnt her completely on esports entirely. And I feel like you're right. Like I feel like we've accepted this standard because it's what we're accustomed to. But I also don't know if that it's this way in other titles though. Because when you look at like what CS:GO is doing, and you look at like the Brazilian, the Brazilian tournament that just went on, man, it looked awesome. They had like a massive festival outside. They had massive food trucks come through, and like there were more people outside the venue watching the games than there were people inside the venue,
Mm.
because they were having so much fun. And I'm like, I feel like that's missing from American lands, or maybe maybe I've just gone to the wrong ones. Um, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know where you change it without just completely either way upping the budget for what these lands are able to do, or if you completely change the way that they're being run. Maybe the focus is off, and I'm not really sure what I think the correct answer is on that.
I have to agree with you there. There's almost too many variables because the thing is, at the end of the day, unless it's a charity event, there needs to be profit. And of course,
Yes.
increasing quality is going to need, you're going to need to spend money to make money. And with trying to coordinate all of this, I feel like one of the lacking things is that there's not many esport convention centers in the country. You know, there are certainly convention centers and stadiums that are rented out for these kind of events, but the way I was thinking about it prior was having all the LAN cables set up, where to put all the microphones, the projectors, the
Yeah.
screens, the
The
many
light
of
shows,
screens.
the
Yes, is this an infrastructural critical point that has just never been addressed? Is this something that should be almost the next thing for maybe orgs to look into, or event hosters to look into? Is truly delving into the commercial side of business, funding. I don't know where it would be from, but funding centers dedicated just to this cause, because
Mhm.
you can almost then isolate the business there. I think Vegas has one or two of them.
Yeah, Vegas has the HyperX Arena, which I've been to. North Carolina is building one. I think New York has one. There's one in Chicago. But off the top of my head, that's kind of the only ones I can name quickly
Sure.
are those
Yes,
locations.
absolutely. And so the idea of small orgs attempting to host is a scary thing. It's a very scary thing to walk into just this empty, I'll say VA or VFW hall, and set up tables. Hope the fingers crossed all of your breakers don't give out when
Oh
you
yeah.
plug in all of these consoles or computers, because it is drawing mass amounts of power. Then trying to focus on, well, option A, no live stream. Option B, we are live streaming. If you are live streaming, of course, your viewership is going to go up and the exposure is going to increase. But then you're just adding to a plethora of issues. And I feel like it's just kind of rabbit hole amongst rabbit hole amongst rabbit hole.
Yeah. No, for sure. I just to me it would be a nightmare to try and host a LAN. Like I just don't know. Like I wouldn't even begin to tell you all of the things that go into hosting the LAN. Um and I never want to personally. Like that just doesn't even sound incredibly fun to me. I do wish it changes. I think esports definitely needs something to move us into the next direction, because right now to me we've stagnated, and if we don't grow in a new facet, which is going to bring me up to my next topic I wanted to pick your brain about this night, was I think you're going to see esports start to take some painful steps back,
Mm.
and the product's going to start looking poor again, and that's going to be really sad to me because of how much intentional effort has gone into increasing the viability of esports as a profession, which I would love to see more kids have that option. Which is really going to bring me up to my next point that I really want to get into. This new article has come out, and I'm super excited to get into this topic, because it is controversial. And I know we only have about 10 minutes left, and so I think this is the perfect amount of time to get into this topic. But basically, there's been a lot of chatter, Todd, about moving esports. Not entirely. Okay, so I think that's an important distinction. But moving esports to a pay-per-view model, and
Mm.
I am loving the conversation. I haven't picked a side entirely yet. I think I know where I'm leaning towards. Um, but moving some time. I know Overwatch and League of Legends have toyed with this. Valorant is currently toying with the idea of moving to a more pay model to get extra, like to get to view extra things. Um, and I just kind of want to get your take. Like I know we've kind of like both quickly read the article that's been posted, that's being brought around, but where are your initial thoughts on? Do you think this pay per view model could be something to make esports a little bit more cash friendly? Which I think will add another layer of security to esports. Like, what are your initial thoughts?
So my initial thoughts are very, very apprehensive of it because it feels like a cop out. It feels almost as a
No, never, never would we cop out.
it feels this like we already have an isolated community and it feels like you're almost juicing those dollars to be escrowed back into the same community, the back to be put back into the same environment.
Okay.
And it's you really put the Berlin Wall of getting new viewers. If they were on the fence before of attending a LAN, they're definitely not going to want to be charged dollars to attend something, I'll say online, especially
Even
if
if
they're
it was like
new.
a $2 view pass, like you don't think, I mean, this doesn't have to be like $100 fight night pass, but
Sure.
I mean, even $2 a view, I mean, you don't think that wanting, would that paywall stop you from viewing?
That paywall, I think, would. And here's
Okay.
why. More than likely, you're going to see compilations on YouTube very shortly after. More than likely, there's going to be so many ways to view the event without paying that. I mean, think about, for lack of better words, think about bigger sports that have a bigger paywall but a much better reward. You know, I'll go down to the bar and watch it for free. We don't have that support as an environment in order
Okay.
to ask such of this, especially when the quality isn't there to engage in such a transaction.
Okay, no, I feel you. I don't disagree, and that's what I say. Like, I'm not really sure where I'm gonna ultimately
Mm-hmm.
put my put my banner down. I'm torn because I love the idea. Like, I mean, like freaking yeah, we can make money on it. We're gonna make money on it. Like, I am for it. But I'm also with you. You're gonna quickly alienate the community. And esports players are fickle. If they're used to getting something for free and now have to pay for it, well, I'm burning this market. So I do get that, but I'm like, think of what we could do. Like, let's take backstage interviews. Let's take
Sure.
some different things that like we haven't been doing, and now let's put that behind a paywall. And so what? You yeah, that may get leaked to YouTube a year from now. Yeah, who cares? Um, that may get leaked not a year, but maybe 2 weeks. But you saw it first. Like, I don't know if I don't disagree with it. Like, no, keep the games. I don't think you should just put a game behind a paywall, put a finals behind it. Like, you've spent hours watching this tournament and you got to pay to. But no, absolutely not. But I think there are ways that we could to build things in, because like I'm sorry, and this might piss some pro players off, but I genuinely don't care. You play professional esports, like your life is easy. If you have to do a little bit more work to put in to continue your lifestyle, like you're gonna complain about that, like you can kiss my ass. Um, like I will die on that hill
Sure.
personally. Um, I'm like, if we can start putting little things, and I'm not asking like $5 a month pass to get the Go TV personalized on the CS:GO matches. I think that'd be awesome. I can't even imagine the front work Val would have to do to make that available. But I think that'd be really cool. Like, imagine, Todd, if you could pay $5 in every single pro match, you get the Go TV demo put into a library for you.
Mm.
And you can just filter through it and go in there and throw the same smokes Rops through on outside long by watching him throw it. Like, imagine what that would do for the scene. I mean, to me, that's where my head goes. But maybe that's way too dreamy. Like, maybe that's 10 years from now. I don't know what your thoughts are, but that's where I immediately think
No, I think we're two salesmen having a conversation, and I'm being sold. I'm with it. You know what? The more you talk about it, the more the reason why my apprehension is there is that say Siege has me as a, and we're referring to Siege, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, and we have seen say events go awry, we've seen them go
of.
well, and so with that extra paywall, like I would never watch say like a League of Legends stream if I had to pay $1 as a investigative viewer, trying to expand my way. Because not only am I an esports viewer, but then you have to get into what esports I view. Am I a MOBA viewer, an FPS
Yeah,
viewer?
yeah.
And I would love the idea of a company taking it over, doing backstage interviews. However, that could immediately backhand because most pro gamers are insufferable in
Oh
conversation.
God, you're not wrong. You're not
Yeah,
wrong.
or showing off what the land looks like inside the booth, what players hear.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people don't know. Pro players at LAN, for example, they use earbuds and then they put sound canceling headphones over. They don't hear through the
Yeah.
sound canceling headphones, and so
It
just
just
like
plays white noise into your head. It's creepy if you're not
it
used to it.
exactly. And so getting that inside look onto everything, I would actually truly be fascinated, and I would pay the dollar, $5, maybe even 10 or more. The thing is, I feel like the risk reward to a viewer is just that teeter totters tilted,
Yeah.
and there needs to be it almost needs a reputable brand or reputable heads put together in order to do so. Like if all the I'll just say Optic Gaming COD guys, if Scump was to open a some sort of business that helped assist the e-commerce of these events, you know what? Maybe it would have me sold. But right now,
Okay.
it's just a theory. I'm not there yet.
Okay. So I'm wondering, yeah, like, no, I'm with you. As much as I'm selling you on the pipe dream, like, I think that it also like brings me back to reality there because I'm just like, who I listened to a couple podcasts of a group of casters from CS:GO talking counter, and they just talk about kind of their lives as CS:GO casters, and I mean they talk about just how long their days are on set and just how chaotic their days are. And I do kind of would love to get more casters and more people that work in the industry's opinion on this
Hmm.
because they are the ones putting on the 14, 15, 20-hour days to put on these events. I mean, I couldn't imagine going, hey, by the way, you're on hour 14. I need you to put a camera in some smelly 18-year-old's face who hasn't showered since Monday. And you need to ask him um, what keyboard he uses, what mouse he uses, and what sense he plays at. Go, have fun. Like, yeah, I can see that becoming a massive issue. I do think if some reputable forces joined with an ESL, Scump joined with ESL, and now we have Scump's backstage pass. I think that would sell. Or imagine Shroud. Like imagine
Sure.
Shroud does a backstage pass with Stewie 2K at the next CS:GO major. I think you could sell that. I would pay $5 to see those two personalities, but I think that's what would have to sell it is the personalities and not the pay-per-view being, oh, you get more content. I think
Absolutely.
I think that would be an angle you could take, but I just don't know. I don't know if people would hear to it well.
If we had the opportunity to get almost like, I don't want to say a sample of how good of the production quality would be, I feel like you could get people on board, avid viewers, new viewers. Like I almost think of like what was the channel that used to host like American and Japan Ninja Warrior. Like I feel like if it was almost like
Was it
that,
Spike? Was it
was it? It
Spike
was a
TV
Spike
like
and
that?
G
I don't
two.
know.
Was it not G2?
G7. I don't
G7.
know,
You,
but
you
I know
you
the
know what I'm
exact
asking?
channels you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah. I feel like if it was like a very similar quality of that, I'll just say ESPN for lack of know-how. And you were able to show me, maybe I should subscribe to this theoretical cable package. I would sign up for it. But until we can continuously show that these big lane events aren't one-offs, that this does benefit both, new viewers, old viewers, that this overall can take all the potential that we see in the esports world and capitalize on it. It's too much to be tossed up.
Yeah. Well, I think we touched two pretty interesting topics. I think we gave it a good hoorah, as far as kind of trying to give an honest look into both topics there. Um, well, yeah, guys, we put ourselves on a timer this week. We hit that 48-minute podcast last week. But no, we may have to edit that out, Todd.
No, we're keeping it. Nope.
We're keeping it. Sounds good. No, I feel like we gave it a good hoorah. I feel like I think we presented people with two non-biased approaches, but ultimately, I feel like it will get pushed. I feel like companies will jump at the bit to, even if they make 10% more profit. I think we'll see it tried. I just hope it is done in an earnest manner. But I mean, hey, one can dream, right?
Yeah, amen to that. So, do us a favor, everybody. If you have comments, if you have questions for us, if you want to say further explore these topics or want another follow-up episode, please give us as much feedback as humanly possible. I mean, this is only episode 3, so we appreciate all the insight available to us.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Y'all have a great week.